This conference will now be recorded.
Hi everyone, welcome to Splunk at Isha. Okay, so this is Vipu, and I'm having around like 12 years of experience, and my expertise include Splunk, AWS, JMeter, LoadRunner, AppD, as well as I worked on some open source monitoring tools as well. Uh, yeah, let's get started. So So like what will be covered basically, like first we will see like what will be covered as part of the Splunk. Okay, so I will be covering like what is Splunk. Actually it is like the course is more intended for the performance testers. So the main part is like um, are you able to see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah, so I'm skipping like most of the admin work. So what will be covered as part of this Splunk is like we'll get to know how to use the Splunk, and you can prepare the dashboard reports. Okay, and I will be covering the installations of the Splunk, and I will be covering in about the Splunk tool as such, and we'll be discussing about the SPL. This is more important actually. Okay, and we'll be covering like how to create the reports for performance testing as well as the dashboard, and there will be something like a lookups and apps and tables and alerts and all those. We'll be covering all those things because like most of the people, right, most of the performance testing we rely on the reports and the dashboards. This is one thing, and I'm moving. Any questions here? Hope you have already seen this course content, right? Okay. So this is like what are logs and why they are more important and what it contains. Any answers for this? Like we'll talk about the Splunk in later point of time. Just I want to have some like what are logs and why they are important. Any guess?
So Vibhu,
So
logs, will
yeah,
be helpful for analyzing, any kind of bugs, or
correct.
logs can be also helpful while getting the NFR informations for performance testing. So logs are very important, yeah, actually. Yeah.
Yeah. So the thing is like what I'm trying, what other thing we can put like this, like we have these APM tools like AppD and Introscope and all those stuff, right? In the same fashion, we rely on the logs, okay, like for finding the root cause, correct or not? So how we use the AppD, maybe the developer will use the logs, correct? So it contains data which helps to know what is happening in the application or the environment, right? This is the exact answer. Okay, so I will take one, I will explain you. So traditionally, right, if you see all the applications like will be in the single environment, right, standalone environment, where we used to have something like we used to have the web server or app server, or, okay, in case of web services or something, you will be having only application server, and we will be having a DB server, or even web server. Okay, that depends upon the application, right? So if you get an issue, right, it is easy to log into the machine and I can and look at the logs and I can trace the issue. Yes or no? This is the traditional where where all the application DB server and everything resides only on one machine. In some 10 years back or something, right, we used to have these types of architectures. Am I correct? But now the trend has changed. Okay, now due to this cloud and microservices, right, what happens, right, each application server in microservices based on the functionality, it is split into multiple microservices. Yes or no? If we say something like amazon.com, okay, some retail, so it will be having a number of functionalities like add to cart, okay, make payment. So if you see is something like retail.com, it has some five functionality, like four functionalities. In earlier days, right, everything was deployed only in one app server or web server. But now the things has changed, right? Now, when the microservice environment, right, you will be having one microservice for this one, correct? Add to payment. And you will be having one more or component for you will be having one more microservice for make payment, and you will have one more service for track orders, and it grows based on the functionality. And it does not mean like you will be having only one jar which will be running for add to make payment or track orders or like fetch some item details, right? They can deploy in microservices, right? What happens, right? Based on the load, right, automatically the microservices will be multiple microservices will be spinned, right? So and we have something like cloud and on premises, or means like the application will be deployed on the on premises, means like what we can say is like a company owned data center. Okay, okay, in a peculiar environment like this, right, it is hard to find if you encounter an issue, a performance issue or a functional issue, right, it is hard to find where exactly we got the issue or like to nail down an issue, right? It is very difficult to find. But if you have, let us assume like if you have an tool which ships all the logs, whatever it can be from the, I mean like your on premises data center or cloud, if they ship everything to one location, right, it will be easy or not? Are you following, guys? Okay, so Splunk is used for that basically. So Splunk, right, it will ship, it is a log management tool which will ship, like let us assume like here it has one log generated, make payments, and track orders has some log generated, and fetch items has some log generated which is generated by one individual microservice. Okay, so what the Splunk and there is some, let us assume like there is one more component called DB over here. Okay, and you guys know, right, in the current days you will be having like distributed environment for the Oracle rack as well, in like NoSQL or RDBMS, right? There are multiple instances that are getting spinned. It doesn't mean like you will be having only one instance. In Oracle also we have two instances, right? So we may have to like analyze the data from multiple DB servers. Like, so what happens, right? In a shorter time, right? It is like if I want to find one issue, right? It will be difficult for me. So what Splunk will do, right? Actually, it will ship all the data. Okay. What Splunk will do, right? It will ship all the logs, like from all the microservices, application servers, and web servers, and DB servers, everything. Okay, as soon as they are generated, right? It will be put in the Splunk. Okay. Once the data is stored in the Splunk, right, we can analyze the issue. Got it? It's basically a log management tool. So when the logs are present at one point at one storage location or like one tool, then it is easy to get the logs and analyze the issue. Got it? So the software application architecture, we have seen like the standalone and distributed. And what is Splunk? Splunk is basically a log management tool. So which ships the data from the application servers, web servers, and it can monitor, it can fetch the data from anything, mostly from any device. It can and configure, it can get the data from your routers, switches, and your IoT devices. So it can get all like whatever the data that is required from all the components, and it gets stored in one location. Okay, so it is something like this. So let us assume, like, there is one scenario for you guys. So let us assume, right, you are uh, you are working on a performance and testing, and there will be like n number of use cases, right? There will be like number of use cases. Like if you take some e-commerce application, right, you will be having like a get the payment, like get the, I mean, like order details, or get the item, see the description, and we have to make the payment, something like that. In that scenario, right, mostly everything is reliant on the log. So what log contains, basically, like E20, okay, 2020, some zeros, slash 07 slash 00, and it will have something like info and like actually the Splunk is used for data analytics as well. I will tell you why. Okay, so how the call, whatever, whenever you do a transaction, right, in turn it is like converted as a some HTTP method. Yes or no? It can be converted as get, or like post. Okay, post, or something like delete. Okay, and here I am making something like make payments. Okay, so this is the actual log snippet. So for a performance tester, right, we are just bothered about like whether we are getting errors or something like that, right? But another, if you see the another side of the Splunk, right, it can be used for log analytics. Let us assume like some CEO of the company is there, and he wants to, on a big billion day or something, he wants to see like how many shipments, like orders has been placed on live. Okay, so whatever the transaction we do, whether it can be a, like a purchase operation, or it can be a fetch operation, or it can be like anything, right, that will be stored in the logs in this fashion. So if I have this raw information, right, this is the raw information. So the big data or this big data analyst, right, what they will do, right, using this get and this payment details, right, they will prepare a dashboard saying like number of, okay, okay, now they have added to some other cart. Let us assume like billable amount is they have, okay, made a payment of, okay, they had made some purchased some um, items worth some 1,000 rupees in one transaction. So if I prepare a dashboard, okay, if I prepare a dashboard based on this raw data, right, it will within like on the fly, right, they can see like how many items has been sold or how many shipments has been done. And if you take performance tester, right, I am running one test in 1 hour, I can see like how many 200s are there. Okay, how many like error codes like 503 or 400, something like that, right? I can map, right? I can create one dashboard in our 1 hour run. I'm seeing these many errors, and in this component, in prior, right, I showed, right, where we have like in a distributed environment where we have multiple microservices and which is present in some in cloud and some in on premises, right? We won't know where actually the issue occurred. Okay, but when you have this Splunk, right, it will enable us to find the root cause in a short span. And there is one beautiful feature: if you take one transaction, right, you can track it end to end. Okay, like you can track from straight from originating from your uh, uh, the client or the load runner, from there till it process and gives, right, which if you have some tracing ID or something, right, you can exactly get like how much time the request is being spent in each component. Okay, any doubts till now?
There is one question here.
Yeah, please.
Uh, can we identify why the CPU utilization is high during the test using Splunk?
Okay, to answer your question, I will tell you, CPU, like there is no tool as such which will tell you like why the CPU is high. Okay, so it will like, why the CPU will be high, basically because it will uh, it is based on the number of threads or what is the GC and all those, right? We have APM tools for that. Okay, we can get the CPU information from Splunk, but it won't nail down. But whatever is present in the logs, whatever the data, based on the data that is present in the logs, right, you will get to know. like let us assume like CPU is high. What is the side effect of that? Maybe response time or errors, correct? Correct or not? So that can be seen in the Splunk, because like we will be having the response time, right? That is the direct parameter figure where every performance tester is bothered, right? So for that, where the if you are having some n number of 5 components, right? In that, it will exactly show you like if the CPU is high in this machine, what is the behavior of that particular transaction in that component, that we can find. And in AppD or something, right, you will be getting the trace IDs, right? You will be getting the snaps for every like some 10 seconds or 15 seconds based on the configuration value. Yes or no? So whatever the data we get in that AppD, in the trace, we have to drill down the issue. But in Splunk, right, all the transactions, whatever happened uh, in the server, that will be logged in the Splunk. So we can have a good analysis of each and every transaction. Let us assume like in your test, right, one transaction failed. You can drill down what happened to that particular transaction. We can drill down to a level like whether that is a test data issue, or it can be an environment issue, or what to say, like if the data is pertaining to test data, right, it will fail for every iteration, right? Yes or no? You got it? Let us assume like something like this. I'm using the test data, I'm running it. After 15 minutes, right, my test data got invalid. Okay, but for the first 15 minutes it is working. Post 15 minutes, next to 40 minutes it is failing. So you can find what exactly is the issue. If you don't have Splunk, right, it is really hard to verify. The developer will be saying simply like the test data is invalid, correct? But we will have some proof to say them like for the first 15 minutes it is working, or next to 45 minutes it is failing. There is something problem with the server. Under load, system is behaving abnormally, or like something happened in the server. Got it? For monitoring and all those, right, we will be using the AppD or Introscope or some other like Dynatrace, something like that. Did I answer your question? And we can like let us assume there is one thing like now I have configured some Splunk in one server. Okay, so let us assume like one developer has changed some configuration or deleted the directory in production itself. Okay, but or in your test environment, it becomes unnoticed if you don't have Splunk. But if you have Splunk, right, there is some mechanism we can put an alert, like something, if something gets deleted, right, it will throw an alert, and it will analyze you the prod traffic as such. Like most of the people will use from Splunk for like live monitoring. So whenever that live traffic is going on, right, they will prepare the dashboards and all those, and they will put it in the like the support team or whatever tech support, these people, right, what they will do, they will have monitors in place, and they will be seeing everything whatever is happening in the Splunk on the fly. Okay, like let us assume like on a peak day, from an AppD perspective or like an Introscope or in a Dynatrace, you can see like how much is the CPU basically, and you can see the response times. But no one knows. But the business is more interested on the number of what is the business that are generated, right? How much it is generated, means how many transactions that has occurred, and how many payments made, how many uh, like items has been sold, and how many users are active on that particular day, right? These all, as soon as the user logs in, right, within 30 seconds or 40 seconds, you will get the data on the, I mean like TV, on the projector. Okay, so Splunk is used for that, and even for big data, right? Like they derive some solution based on the data, right? And the log is the main source of data. for anything, correct? And let us assume like there are some transactions getting failed on the Splunk. The reaction time will be like within fraction of minutes. Okay. Normally, if you get any like a production issue, right? First, the customer has to report to you. First, the customer will report to you. Then only you will know whether you will know that there is some incident raised. But if you have these dashboards in place, right? As soon as the transactions fail, right, you will see it on your TV. Like I will be putting some dashboard, right? Payment failed, create one dashboard and create one alert, and how many transactions failed and what is the time. Everything like preliminary analysis will be done. They will be put it in the dashboard. Like there will be, right? There are two types of monitorings. One is proactive and one is reactive. Proactive is something like we'll put the solution in place to proactively monitor the system. And reactive is something like if something happens, then what is the like what we have to do, or like what is the action item that needs to be done. That is called as reactive monitoring. Splunk is a proactive monitoring tool. Got it? Till now clear or any issues? Basically, right, it will for a functional tester or a performance tester, or and let us assume like if he's an IT admin, okay, under his name, right, under his name he has access to some 2000 servers. Okay, at every point of time if there is an issue, right, he can't log in into that each and server individually and see what is happening. Yes or no? There is one scenario like some 50 like out of 1000, right, 200 servers are getting failed. Okay, but when the issue occurred, right, he don't know. He will think like there are only some servers that are getting failed, but he don't know that count. But if we have this Splunk in place, right, he will directly display what is the error, what are the hosts that are involved, everything it will display on the dashboard, or like, got it? Yeah, basically it is used for like uh, mostly monitoring and analyzing the system. For a performance tester, right, previously, right, we used to just like 5 years back or 6 years back, we used to just run the test and we used to give the report, right? But now, right, people are just talking about learning this performance engineering and all those stuff. Why performance engineering like is necessary for a tester, even though the issue will be fixed by a developer, right? Ultimately the issue will be fixed by a developer, but you need to provide some solution or like some idea to him to fix the issue. That is the main agenda, right? Why people learn performance test engineering, and because it saves lot of time, correct? In the same way, Splunk also will help the tester to analyze the issue rather than pointing like what I got some 500 errors or so I had for this issue. It will help tester to analyze the issue and which component is getting failing, which host it is failing, and based on that particular second where it failed, right, we can see refer the AppD or like whatever the tool, and we can see the metric. Previously, right, it is something like we will take the peak whenever the garbage collection happens, right, then we will see what will be happening in the logs. Yes or no? That is how the trend, right? Correct? Are you following? Let us assume like there is one scenario like GC happened in the system, and at that particular time what happened, like throughput dropped. So what we will do, basically we'll go to logs and you will check no what is happening. But now, right, we can directly see the logs, and wherever we see this abnormal behavior, right, we can refer in the APM tool what is happening on that system. You got it? But let us assume like there is one scenario where at some point of time my SLA is some 2 seconds. Okay, and I have seen some pattern during my test execution after 45 minutes, like the response time is 10 seconds. Okay, using Splunk, right, I can get the transaction with the details. Okay, like what is the transaction, what the customer journey, right, everything will be displayed in the Splunk. Okay, and once I get this 10 seconds, when I see this response time as 10 seconds, I can go to the application monitoring tool and see what is happening during that particular time. Because in APM, right, you can't really track, like let us assume like there are some 100k transactions, like 50k transactions that happened in a period of 1 hour. You can't nail down the you can't nail down by a transaction wise, right? Yes or no? It will give a cumulative sum and it will give you the trace of the some transactions. Am I correct? But if you have a log, then we can give, it can give like each and every transaction. You can filter out what is happening each and transaction wise. Okay, and I covered this one. And why we use Splunk is popular, like it can fetch data from any source, like it can be from router or IoT device or anything it can fetch, and it will store everything in this. The location can be anything, right? It can be like normally, right, any location is something like, if you see the application server, right, then it will store in the logs. If you see some DBs, right, they won't store data in the logs, they will store in the DB as such. And some network elements, right, there won't be any, for routers and switches, right, there won't be any logs that will be getting generated. Okay, we'll use some peculiar mechanism to get the data from that. And the Splunk is like intelligent enough to get the data as well, and we no need to bother about the scale. It can be in terabytes or petabytes, right? It doesn't matter, it will get all the data at one location, and you can store the data of last like 10 years or 6 years or 5 years. Whenever you search, you select the time range, and if you search, right, all the data will be displayed to you. So let us assume like you are running some product based company. Okay, now you are shipping all the logs, like since 3 or 4 years, right, you are shipping all the logs to Splunk. Okay, and you can compare the response times and the system behavior from the current day again as the some like 4 years or 5 years stay. Got it? For a product, right, in a span of 5 years, right, the transactions will be same, most of the transaction, but they will add some extra features. That's it, right? But the core transaction which worked 5 years back, what is the system behavior and current behavior, we can easily get the response times and all those. Got it? So the Splunk can get data from the Windows, Linux, and cloud like VMware, or like whatever the system that generates log, right? Splunk is capable of getting that information from that system. Okay, and applications that include like web servers, or like a Log4j and JMS and JMX we can also get, and .NET events and databases also, it will fetch the data. And networking also, if there are any logs that are being generated by the networking in components, right, it will get the data. Okay, even for in the databases, right, there will be some direct logs, and there will be something called like audit logs, and it can get the schemas and tables also. And yeah, and like let us assume like everyone is running their applications in their hypervisor, like in VMware or something, right, in your or companies, or even prod, right? So you are just monitoring, and we will know what is happening in your uh, application itself. But there will be some other team who will be doing that Splunk VMware analysis, right? So if they have that feasibility to ship that VMware logs to your Splunk servers, right, you can also verify what is happening. Got it? Normally we won't monitor this VMware, right? Yes or no? In your performance testing, you don't know what is happening in the other end, but you have this Splunk, right? It will enable us to see and narrow down. When you have lot of information with you, right, you can find the root cause of an issue. Got it? And it is being used by IT, IT users, data analysts, security analysts. There is one thing called, like, now the security analysis is like hot cake, something like that, because now whenever an authorized person logins, or whenever hacker tries to log in your system, right, he will attack multiple times. That each event will be recorded in your log. And if I have a dashboard like number of failures per minute, when, okay, then it will record the multiple attempts, right, on the fly, and I can correct my system. I can send an alert to the people who are working on that security. Yes or no? Actually, like, these days, like Splunk, right, it is mostly used for the security analysis. Got it? There will be some attacks, DDoS attack. You might have heard, right? DDoS attack, or like, if someone tries to log into your system, right, it is not a like a one way. It's not, it won't happen in one time, right? Whenever he logs in, right, he can't log in, he has to do with various combinations, right? So these actions will be recorded in the uh, logs, right? That can be tracked. You got it? And business, and like business users, let us assume, like, now we have this Reliance, right? Reliance is having multiple streams, and they are having multiple business. If, let us assume that the CEO of the Reliance want to see what is happening in 2 3 business, right, then with one dashboard, right, they can get what is happening, what is the revenue on that particular day, or particular minute, or particular hour, or last 6 months, right? They can get using Splunk. That is for the business. And security, I told already, right? Like, if there is some attacks, right, that thing will be like, that attack traces will be recorded in the logs. And if you have, like, if you react to that logs, right, if you react to that attack, right, it can save a lot of money and a reputation for that company. And the data analyst, right, now data analyst, as I said earlier, right, in e-commerce, same thing. These business users will get the information from the data analyst, right? The CEOs, the business people won't understand anything, but this data analyst will analyze. Let us assume, like, there is one use case, like whenever you do a search history on your amazon.com, right, they will store your events, right, what you are accessing, and those things they will project to you in the recently viewed or whatever. Okay, they will showcase you more such that you will buy that item. And IT users, right, they will be using for debugging or analyzing the logs. If he's a performance tester, right, he will see, like, loud, I am having some 100 nodes, okay, and 2 got nodes. It doesn't mean, like, if I'm having some 200 nodes, it doesn't mean like everything will be perfect, right? All the nodes won't serve at same capacity or same fashion, out of which some 5 nodes are gone. They are not at all performing. If I have Splunk, right, I can drill down, I can narrow down, okay, these are the nodes which are having problem, just to remove them and replace it. For taking that call, if you don't have that logs and Splunk in place, how many months it will take? You will run for 3 hours 3 or 4 times, and if you see the same behavior, just replace. You got it? Like, actually Splunk has many uses based on, like, it is based on us how to use it. And it is being used by like 5,000, more than 5,000 companies. It is started in, like, around like 2006 Splunk was started, and first version, right, it got released in 2006. Within this time, right, 15 years, right, mostly like every company, if it is a service based or a product based, right, Everyone is using Splunk these days. And if you talk about these Splunk certifications, right, there are like as I mentioned, right, it is as it is being used by multiple people. There are like multiple Splunk certifications in place, and one is like a certified code power user, and this is the advanced power user. This is will be done by the developer or a tester. Okay, this thing will be more intended for preparing the dashboards. Okay, and this is for the admin. The Splunk will be managed by a separate team. Those are called as Splunk admins. For them, right, there are like separate certifications for like admin, certified admin, and certified architect. Okay, and security certified admin. As I told, right, the security these days, like Splunk is being mostly used for security. So even for a security analyst, right, he should be like well versed with the Splunk, and it is having like and one more certification like IT service intelligence certified admin. Okay, I kept it, I copied twice. Okay, like it is something like if you are having some vast environment, right, then how to manage and do all those intelligently, right, that is the certification. Okay, it is having like 1 2 3 4 5 6 certifications. I can help you with core certified power user. Okay, I'm done, guys. Like, let's go to questions. Like, if you have any questions, right, I will answer.
So for performance testers, which one is useful?
First one, core certified power user. So as a performance, okay.